Yes, he is a British footballing icon, a Premiership legend known for his dynamite midfield abilities as well as doing some nutty stuff on and off the pitch. Uncle Propa's about to donkey punch your intrigue and arouse your tender nipples with the story of one of the most loved sportsmen and celebrity figures produced from our great nation. So get yourself cosy, make yourself a jam sandwich and light up your Jamaican jolly stick as we dive deep into the life of the one and only Jimmy Bullard. Strap in your peng-tings, here we go. Born on the 23rd of October 1978 in East Ham, London, the very same day as his father's favourite footballer, the genius Pelé. Yes, the young Jimmy was born an East Londoner, the famous area known for its infamous gangsters and hard nuts, the likes of the Craze, Lenny McLean and of course Phil Mitchell. Yes, go on Phil, give us a swig bruv, fucking boss, love it. Now, Jimmy didn't really fall into the hard nut category, judging by his school photo. And he recalls his long blonde locks made it difficult for some people to be able to tell if he was a boy or a girl, but it did serve him well in his audition for the part of the Milky Bar Kid, to which he got down to the last 5 contestants, but unfortunately the Milky Bars weren't on him. So instead he immersed himself into sports, showing an array of talent within darts as well as golf, pool, fishing and snooker. In his teenage years he would be winning the darts competition in his local every week and also achieved an astonishing 102 break in snooker. The sports kept him on the straight and narrow, keeping him sheltered from the usual mischievous adolescent behaviour that his friends were up to, hanging out on street corners, the drink and the drugs, finger blasting Ginger Trudy, the school tart behind the co-op. Oh yes, those were the days. But anyway, as if by the fate of his shared birthday with Pelé, it was football that was his true love. His father coached the local YMCA team when he was 6 years old, and while starting as centre-back, he pleaded with his dad to let him play in midfield where he found his true home. He persevered well, and at the age of 10 he was recruited for Millwall boys. Yes, the old Lions, eh? Football's hardest fans. No one likes us, we don't care. What you fucking looking at your lunchbox? You'll get one right in the canister, you sigh. Who's got the Charlie? Yes, sorry, anyway. Throughout his teenage years, he trained hard with his father and excelled playing for the likes of Kent schools, then taking his first big step up at 16 playing for Corinthian FC. He was on the pitch every Saturday afternoon and working at a chippy on Saturday nights. He had a 2-week trial at Leyton Orient where he found he really was a level below the big boys, then signed for Dartford where he was unable to show his true potential due to not getting enough games. Many people told his father he was not good enough to make it in the beautiful game, but Daddy Bullard brushed them off and remained positive. Then a crafty move to Gravesend in 1998 finally unleashed his footballing masterclass. He had a double solid season and scouts from QPR and West Ham began showing an interest. Now Jimmy and his father had been lifelong Hammers fans, so it was an easy decision to make, and even though he was informed that he may not get picked for the first team, his father thought the experience was essential. So through years of graft on the pitch, whilst also carving out careers laying TV cables, a painter and decorator as well as a brief stint as a fireman, the dream had finally come true for young Jimmy. He was now a Premiership player, joining the mighty Hammers in February 1999 under the watchful eye of Harry Redknapp, and he went on to prove all the doubters absolutely correct and ended up playing fuck all. Yes, his 2 years at West Ham consisted of 2 games on the bench, but the experience really was invaluable, training with the legends of the game. Yes, Lampard, Rio, Razor, Wrighty and Di Canio. Oh yes, what a player he was. Look at this fucking bosh, love it. Yeah, go on ref, what you talking about? Fuck off, you melt. Hold on, he dived. Proper liberty, I'm telling ya. Sorry, I digressed. Anyway, Harry informed him the reserves was the extent of his Hammers career, but luckily 2nd Division side Peterborough came in to swoop the ambitious Bullard. He caught the eye of manager Barry Fry, who signed him on a permanent deal, and knowing this time he would get plenty of opportunity to play for the first team, he was eager to impress. And his very first week at the club, he was back on the fucking bench. You'd be right cheesed off, wouldn't you? But his time came and he did impress, leading to a solid couple of years at the club with 11 goals in the process. He became a very valuable asset, almost bought by Birmingham, but in the end it was Wigan who coughed up 275k for the in-demand midfielder. Wigan were the Division 2 side dreaming of Premiership promotion, and Jimmy knew his role was to get them there. And get them there, he bloody did. Losing only 4 games in total for his first season, the mighty mighty Wigan racked up 100 points, storming their way into Division 1. The following year showed a lot of promise, remaining in playoff positions until they were overtaken right at the very end. But the following year, the stars finally aligned, and a 3-1 win against Reading solidified their position in the Golden Division. An incredible achievement for the Londoner. His dream of playing in the Premiership was finally a reality, so he knew he had to really knuckle down and take things very seriously. Well, sort of. Oh, and I did mention that Jimmy weren't really an hard nut, didn't I? And we could sort of see this when old Duncan Disorderly shit him up. Yeah, to be fair, he was quality, but he was a bit of a fucking fruitcake, that bloke. Now the side were not out of place at all in the Premiership, finding themselves second place by November, finishing 10th overall, and produced a great run to the League Cup final as well, in which United unfortunately tanked them 4-0. Ah, well, I mean, what can you do? Ronaldo was double ream on the ball back then, weren't he? Look at this. Bloody hell. Sort yourself out, Jim. He's got you going around like a fucking washing machine, bruv. Shame he turned into a right fucking baby, weren't he? Oh, poor me and my hundreds of millions in the bank. Oh, Piers. Oh, pull your lip over your head and swallow your great big tuna. Anyway, things were going rosy for old Jimbo. Previously on $2,500 a week in the Championship, he had now earned himself a whopping $12,000 a week. But at the end of that season, when a $2.5 million bid came in from Fulham and his childhood sweetheart became pregnant at the same time, Jimmy saw the opportunity to get himself back to his home turf of London, reuniting with his loving family and friends. The now bona fide Premiership player got off to a cracking start on his debut, losing 5-1 to Man United. Terrific. But he soon found his feet, becoming a firm fixture in the squad, and was hailed by Fulham boss Chris Coleman as the best couple of million we've ever spent. Things got a little bit strange around this time, however, when stories emerged in the papers that although born to English parents, Jimmy's grandmother was actually German, which made him eligible to play for Germany. So according to Wikipedia here, it was reported that Bullard was contemplating an international call-up from National Mannschaft. National Man's Shaft. Is that a fucking wind-up? Man's Shaft. I've got to Google that. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Alright. Oh, National German Team. That's translated to. Bloody Mannschaft, though. There we are. Anyway, it was actually Jimmy's agent who floated the idea, and obviously the Englishman would never have followed through with it, but it did make for some press. However, soon after, though, things took a bit of a turn for the worst, when his good fortune came to a harsh end on the 9th of September 2006 with this tackle against Newcastle United. God, look at that. Sweet child of mine. The extent of the injury was a dislocated kneecap, putting him out of action until the 12th of January 2008. But he returned with fire in his belly, scoring one of his trademark free kicks just 3 weeks later, and his efforts the remainder of the season helped rescue Fulham from the relegation zone in what was billed as the famous Great Escape. His performance even earned himself an England squad call-up, and although he never featured, back at Fulham he had become a hero. Now upon his performances, he was being linked to a move with numerous other clubs, but he promised to remain loyal to his London club, now managed by Roy Hodgson. Yep, hello Roy. To stay strong at Craven Cottage with the Cottagers. Until a few months later when he said, fuck it, I'm off to Hull. There was disputes around his contract at the time. He wanted an extension because of his injury, but Roy Hodgson was not in agreement. He was sad of the way he was being treated, feeling very disrespected by Hodgson and the club. But then Hull pretty much bollocksed up his contract, added an extra £15,000 a week more than he was meant to get, so he thought, fuck it, not all bad. See you later, Roy. Anyway, another new exciting endeavour was upon him. A record $5 million signing for Hull, and Jimmy had that fire in his belly again, in his own special way, sort of. And after 37 minutes of action in his first game, he smashed up his knee again. Brilliant. Another 9 months of recovery ensued till he was ripe and ready to return, and he graced the pitch once again in a reserves game against Bolton, slotting in a phenomenal volley. 1 month later, he returned to the first team, looking back to his best within a few games, and produced a bit of Bullard charm, imitating his manager Phil Brown after the equalising penalty at Man City. Oh yes, don't you just love it? He was crowned Premier League Player of the Month for November, the future looking double bright, and then after a dodgy tackle from James Milner, or Lee Evans. Actually, no, he looks like that fucking head off of Heart Attack, doesn't he? Anyway, yes, a naughty tackle from Milner, and he nosed up the other knee as well. Bloody blimey, how's your luck, bruv? Another frustrating day for the Londoner. Upon his recovery with another third of a season lost, Hull was struggling to survive relegation. With all his injuries, a total of 2.5 years were spent off the pitch, and it showed in his football, admitting to feeling a slight loss of his ability through inactivity. On top of this, one day after a match, he had a little bit of a Barney with Barnby. His teammate Nick Barnby said some choice words about Jimmy's contract and wages that upset Bullard, and it all kicked off in front of a load of ladies from the Women's Institute. They weren't happy, as you can imagine. Then, just as relegation loomed, manager Phil Brown was replaced by Ian Dowie, and the club's final attempts to salvage the season rested on a penalty against Sunderland that Bullard was to take. But for the first time, his confidence was at an all-time low, and he missed. Hull were relegated. Jimmy had the ambition to get back to the Premier League, but Hull felt they could not support him financially whilst in the Championship, so he was snubbed for most of the games. It was a sour atmosphere at that time between him and the club, and finally, out of the blue, a phone call came from his old Wigan gaffer Paul Jewell, asking him to play on loan at Ipswich for the rest of the season. Bullard snapped up the opportunity and left Hull behind. Now Jimbo once again felt wanted and had that fire back in his belly, scoring on his debut. Ipswich performed well for the rest of the season, and he picked up the team's Player of the Year. The camaraderie between him and the lads made him feel right at home, and especially with striker Michael Chopra, who he went on to have a naughty old bender with up in Newcastle one week. Yes, they got bang on it, didn't they? Smashing the Jaeger bozzers, cutting shapes on the D floor, chatting up the birds. Hello, babies, your name Wi-Fi? Because I'm feeling a connection to you, fucking bosh. Sorry, anyway, the pair turned up late for training the next day, and the gaffer wasn't happy. Jimmy was ultimately suspended for 2 weeks. Now, upon returning, the famous Bullard knees were giving him some jip again, and he found himself benched for most of the remaining season, till the day finally came when Paul Jewell told him the bad news, saying it's just not going to happen for you here now, Jimmy, and with new talent on the team threatening his place, he was finally released. The footballer through and through wanted nothing more than to carry on playing and searched around for a club. A call from MK Dons got him back in action, but in only his second game at the club, a tackle causing damage to his already problematic right knee proved that the writing was on the wall. His body could no longer do what his head wanted it to, and he knew it. So the great Jimmy Bullard announced his retirement from professional football on the 1st of October 2012. This man truly gave his life to the sport, a hero of British football, and added many amazing laughs for the fans and the players along the way. We will always regard him a true legend, but in true bounce back Bullard style, he just couldn't fuck off completely, could he? Absolutely not. Bosh, he got the call up for I'm a Celebrity. Yes, there he was, eating the kangaroo bollocks in the jungle with a host of other famous people. Yes, we had the lovely Melanie Sykes, oh yes, absolute sort, Playboy Bunny, Kendra, absolute sort, and Gemma Collins, anyway. So as the dirty bastards had a tug to the shower scenes, Jimbo tugged on the heartstrings of the nation. But he got voted off first. Fair enough. Regardless, an impression had been made, and the phone has never stopped ringing since. We just can't get enough of him, and here we are. The midfield dynamo, the curly-haired prankster, and an all-round British hero. This has been the story of the one and only Jimmy Bullard. God bless this man. Big up the Bullard, double legend. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you triple soon. And oh yes, remember, bosh.